Don't they give us the years that we don't go in the playoffs? I mean, I'll skip the final, and I get flat.
This has been great because they had the enabling list for December. They didn't do that.
Good morning. Lively, a lot of energy up here today. I call this July 19th SBCAG meeting to order. And please stand, please call the roll first. Sorry, got us a little off.
Directors Williams?
Here.
Wolf?
Here.
Adam? Here. Lavanino? Richardson? Lizaldi? Mosby? Aceves? Clark?
Here.
Murillo?
Here.
Patino?
Here.
Sierra?
Here.
And Chair Hartman?
Here. Now stand, please. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now it's time for public comment on matters not on today's agenda, but within our jurisdiction. Do we have any speaker slips, Ms. Contreras?
No, we have no public comment.
Okay, turning to our consent calendar, does anyone have anything they would like to pull for further discussion? And while you're thinking about that, F, G, and I are items that Director Williams has to step out for, so maybe let's do those first. And would you read all of those into the record at once, and we'll just have one vote?
Certainly. 4F, Highway 101 HOV SB1 Baseline Agreement. Approve and authorize the Executive Director to execute a baseline funding agreement as attached or with minor modifications and County Council Office concurrence with the California Transportation Commission to receive funds awarded for the implementation of the Highway 101 Multimodal Corridor Project from Cycle 1 of the Road Repair and Accountability Act of 2017, SB1 funding. 4G, Highway 101 Linden Casitas Transportation Management Program. Approve and authorize the Chair to execute Amendment Number 1 to Agreement 050303 with the California Department of Transportation for Transportation Management Program Services during the construction phase of the Highway 101 Linden Casitas project to increase the value of services provided by SBCAG by $180,000 for a total reimbursement to SBCAG of $1,130,000. And 4I. Federal Transportation Improvement Program Amendment. 4I1, amend the 2017 Federal Transportation Improvement Program to add Appendix 11 on performance measures. 4I2, after adoption of Resolution 1820, adopt formal amendment number 15 and adopt Resolution 1821, amending the 2017 Federal Transportation Improvement Program.
Thank you. Is there any board discussion of any of those items? Any public comment?
No public comment.
All right, may I have a motion?
So moved.
Second? Second. And we need a roll call vote.
Directors Wolf?
Aye.
Adam? Lavanino? Richardson? Lizaldi? Mosby? Aceves? Clark?
Aye.
Murillo?
Aye.
Patino?
Aye.
Sierra?
Aye.
And Chair Hartman?
Aye.
Motion passes 12-0.
Are there any other items in the Director Adam?
Thank you. I need to talk about E for a moment.
Okay, so we have, would you read E into the record?
4E, Senate Bill 1 Local Partnership Program Application. Authorize submittal of application to California Transportation Commission for Local Partnership Program Fiscal Year 2019-20 formula funding.
Just wondering if there's any projects that we could be talking about on the in the North County.
Mr. Sarkis?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Directors, so with this program back in October, when we were developing applications for the US 101 corridor, we did present the policy of presenting the local partnership formula funding towards projects in the South Coast, and then once those projects were funded and delivered, then what we would do is do an open call for projects countywide. So that's what we presented in October. So once the projects on the South Coast are done with the 101 HOV, then we'll do a countywide open call for projects.
Okay, so Santa Claus streetscaping is part of 101?
It's a parallel project with the 101 HOV widening.
Okay, thank you.
Director Patino?
That was the same question I had. It seemed like everything was down in South County. So,
Yes.
thank you.
And Director Kern, did you have anything more you wanted to add to that? Okay. So are there any other items? Director Williams?
I would note that, of course, one of the biggest pluses of SB1 has just been in our local streets and roads maintenance work as well, and that the county in the discussion in our budgets have been very strong in the idea that this should be additive and not replace the streets and road work. And I think probably one of the reasons why we had a larger number of people vote for the budget this year had something to do with how much we put into streets and roads in addition to the SB1 funds. And so just wanted to make that point.
Thank you. May I?
Also known as the gas tax fund.
Okay, seeing no more lights, may I have a motion to approve the balance of the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second? I'll second. And again, a roll call vote.
Directors Williams? Wolf?
Aye.
Adam? Lavanino? Richardson? Lizaldi? Mosby? Aceves? Clark?
Aye.
Murillo?
Aye.
Patino?
Aye.
Sierra? And Chair Hartman.
Aye.
Motion passes 13-0.
Okay, turning to our work agenda, item number 5. Would you read that into the record, please?
Item 5, Congestion Management Program Assessment. Direct SBCAG staff to pursue becoming exempt from the Congestion Management Program Assessment pursuant to Government Code Section 65088.3, including coordination with all member jurisdictions.
Mr. Becker.
Good morning, Chair Hartman and Directors. Mike Becker, staff. Today we're here to request the board's direction that we work with the local jurisdiction staff to pursue becoming exempt from the state's congestion management program requirements. Since 1990, SBCAG has been preparing a congestion management program every 2 years. If it's found that a jurisdiction has a congestion issue, that jurisdiction is required to prepare a deficiency plan, and if they do not prepare a deficiency plan, then they are there's a threat of losing gas tax revenues that they use to repair local streets and roads. Conversely, there's no funding that is added because there's a congestion issue. It's only there's potentially a threat of losing the funds if you don't prepare a deficiency plan. And it only falls on local jurisdictions. It does not fall on Caltrans for the state highways. SBCAG, though we're pursuing or we're requesting pursue becoming exempt from the state's congestion management requirements, that doesn't mean that we don't care about congestion. There's what we do, we're recognizing that this is not an effective means of monitoring congestion, and we're still monitoring through the regional transportation plan. We have federal requirements that are coming with performance management that we are continuing to look at congestion. However, we just feel that the congestion management program is not the best way to do it. Through this process, we worked with TTAC and learned that the congestion management program is no longer accomplishing the objectives that it was set out to accomplish. And our executive director, Margie, directed us to work with the local jurisdictions to get a feel and to see if they're willing to pursue exemption. If we do become exempt from the state's requirements, that would mean that SBCAG every 2 years is not required to update this congestion management program report. And it also would free the local jurisdictions from the requirement to collect traffic count data, which we estimated costs each jurisdiction in the county between $4,000 and $8,000 per year. It doesn't stop them from collecting it for their own purposes, but they would no longer be required to collect it for our purposes. And it also, if we become exempt, it allows us to look at congestion through one lens of the federal requirements rather than having separate federal requirements and separate state requirements. There is one issue that there's a potential ability to lose the, if SBCAG would desire to put forth a ballot measure to collect the vehicle registration fee related to SB 83, which I believe could be up to $10 per vehicle in the county. It would have to go to voters, and we estimate it would be about $3 to $4 million a year. And if we are exempt from the congestion management program, we are no longer a congestion management agency, and we would lose that ability. However, that doesn't stop us from, if the board desired to go down that route, we can reinstate ourselves as a congestion management agency. In 1996, the state passed a law which allowed regions to become exempt from the program. Since then, most regions in the state have become exempt. There's only 3 or 4 that are still congestion management agencies, and most of those are all the large MPOs in Los Angeles and the Bay Area. We held a workshop last fall, I believe it was, with the county, Buellton, Santa Barbara, Santa Maria, and Caltrans to discuss this. We received support from all those involved to pursue exemption. In May, we took an item to TTAC, and they also recommended that we pursue becoming exempt from this program. However, one way of replacing is in the regional transportation plan, they would like us to include a congestion prioritization measure for projects that are listed, and we're happy to accommodate that. In order to become exempt from the program, we need a majority of the city councils in the region or the board of supervisors, so at least 5 jurisdictions representing at least half the population, so no matter which way we go, we have to get the county on board, needs to pass a resolution supporting the exemption. And if we get your direction to work towards that, we will work with the local staffs to get something on your agendas. And Margie and I will make ourselves available to come around and make presentations to the Board of Supervisors or the city councils. And like I said, we are still monitoring congestion through the federal process, and we have an issue, the San Ynez Valley circulation and safety study is a good example of another way that we're monitoring congestion, which came to light from comments by board members to that there's congestion issues in the valley. We applied for grant funding, received funding, and we're bringing forward a study that will look and be much more beneficial than just identifying congestion issues in the through the congestion management program. Today we are looking for an action of your direction, or you to direct staff to work with local jurisdictions to become exempt, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Do any directors have questions for Mr. Becker? Anybody in South County? Apparently. Yes, Director Wolf.
No, Madam Chair.
Okay. Do we have any public comment on this matter?
We have no public comment.
May I have a motion to direct staff to explore becoming exempt from the congestion management program?
I will move that with the addition that we, as in the South County sub-regional, we simply said that we wanted, in addition to this, to make clear that we still tend to pursue local congestion management programs and strategies. So with that largely symbolic amendment, I would so move the staff recommendation.
May I have a second? Director Murillo.
I'll second it, and if I could add, that I'll need to convince my city council that whatever we're doing instead will be effective in addressing congestion. I think that's kind of what Supervisor Williams just said, but thank you.
Madam Chair.
So we have a motion and a second. Further discussion, Director Richardson.
Discussion, Doss, I don't understand your amendment, what you meant.
So essentially, if I could encapsulate what Mr. Becker said, is that we don't really get much congestion management out of participation in this congestion management program. And that's why we're going to discontinue it. But I can only imagine that you have many constituents that are worried about it too, but we have many constituents that are, you know, if you just said we're ending our congestion management program, they might get the wrong idea. And what we want to make sure that we convey is that we still want to pursue congestion management strategies, just not this particular program.
Okay. So it's an outreach sort of a thing.
Yeah, and just a clarification.
Thank you.
Director Estevez?
I'm just wondering if we're going to have two separate motions. Deal with the issue first, and then bring a subsequent motion, because it's going back to the different entities, and the argument is why we're stopping this. And I think that should be very clear. Just my opinion.
Okay, here's what it says. Directs SBCAG staff to pursue becoming exempt from the congestion management program assessment pursuant to government code section, and I won't say that, including coordinating with all member jurisdictions. So this is direction to staff to start working with member agencies. So let's go with that, and I think we don't even need a motion to say we're going to continue pursuing congestion management strategies locally and at all levels.
Well, I just think that should be prominent, particularly since the South County Regional, that's what they voted for. Right?
Okay, I wasn't there, sorry.
Yeah, we amended the motion in the South County Regional, and it's not really reflected here. It's a largely symbolic amendment, but it,
okay,
let's normal course of business would be, that would be the motion right here.
Let's take the, let's separate them. I think that's clearer. So to go back, I'm putting on the table then the motion that is recommended in our staff report. May I have a second for that?
I'll second it.
And a roll call vote, please.
Director Williams?
Aye.
Wolf?
Aye.
Adam?
Aye.
Levanino?
Aye.
Richardson?
Aye.
Lazaldi?
Aye.
Mosby?
Aye.
Aceves?
Aye.
Clark?
Aye.
Murillo?
Aye.
Patino?
Aye.
Sierra?
Aye.
And Chair Hartman.
Aye.
Motion
Director
passes
Williams.
13-0.
Then just, I will make a subsequent motion adding in the motion that we made at South County Regional is just simply to make the clarification that SBCAG will continue to try to engage in congestion management strategies, just not this one.
Question on the motion. So what does that, I mean, they have to go out and, does that mean we're doing reports? Does that mean, I mean, are we just trying to educate people that we're not getting away from, we're still going to worry about congestion, but?
That's right. And it's particularly pursuant to the flack that Commissioner Murillo will receive if the city of Santa Barbara doesn't, if some folks in the city of Santa Barbara don't wonder if that's us slacking off our job on congestion management.
Okay. Well, I think then you just educate the people that question you, but all right. Well, there's a motion out there, I guess.
And do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Yeah, I think it doesn't need a formal motion. It's kind of direction to staff, but it seems like the South County people really want it formalized in a motion. Would we really object to doing that? Ms. Benamalam.
Madam Chair, members of the board, I mean, this item is agendized for your consideration, so you do have discretion to take action. You've already taken staff's recommendation. You know, the next motion, it doesn't really appear to be direction to staff, although you could do it as direction to staff. And maybe that would be clear, that direct staff to just continue their efforts related to congestion management, because the staff report does talk about continuing the federal congestion management program.
Madam Chair.
Director Richardson.
I believe staff it told us what they were going to do. They were going to meet with all the local jurisdictions to rally the troops, so to speak, on their position. So.
Director Williams.
I think that a symbolic clarification when we're ending the program isn't really a whole lot to ask.
Yeah, it's not. The question is, does it need to be in a formal motion? We often give direction to staff, and
I wouldn't
it's
have
part
even
of our
made it
minutes.
in a formal motion, but it totally wasn't reflected in the staff report, like we never had the discussion in South County. So I just, I was politely re-adding it back in, but normally I wouldn't, but it was not reflected in the record.
Madam Chair.
Please.
I think this is South County and not North County, and I would hate to say, because I'll probably vote against it, and I don't think that's what you want, because you down in South County, this is what you want to do, and I think it's fine for South County to come up with this in their sub-regional and really not include us in it, because it really doesn't affect us.
Well, I think this is the opportunity for the SBCAG board to speak as a whole, and it's. I don't think it requires a motion, but I hear that it may be helpful. And may I just ask Director Murillo, would you weigh in, because Director Williamson suggested this might be helpful to you in educating people about SBCAG's role, which is something we're all concerned about.
I trust, Madam Chair, that SBCAG and my city staff will do the work. We have a motion and a second, and people can just vote it up or down, which is fine. We've made our statements that we just want to make sure that our constituents understand we will be addressing traffic congestion. They're actually pretty crazy about parking congestion, but that's a whole different subject. So I'm happy to take a vote, and whatever happens, happens. Thanks.
Director Sierra?
I just was, you read the staff report and it says exemption does not deprioritize the need to address congestion. It simply recognizes that the CMP is not an effective option. So I thought it was pretty clear in here that although this is something that's not working, but it certainly does not deprioritize the need to address congestion.
Director Lizaldi and then Director Adam.
Yes. I feel confident when staff presented at sub-regionals because our jurisdiction is crossed by 2 state highways, and they were clear that they were still going to work with other jurisdictions in the process of traffic management. So I was pretty confident in that, or else I wouldn't have approved that.
Yes. Director Adam.
Thank you. I just want to say that, I can't vote against the motion because, no person in their right mind doesn't want there to be less congestion. And, there is, from time to time, there's less congestion in North County, but there's not no congestion. So, and this body works pretty much towards that end to make circulation better and maintain things. That's what we do here, and so it's superfluous in that way. I don't see the reason for it, but I can't vote against it either because it's just common sense. So, and unnecessary common sense, but common sense nevertheless.
That's very helpful. So we did have a second to that motion. All right.
Yes, I seconded it. Thank you.
I asked for public comment already, right? We didn't have any, so let's have a roll call vote.
Director Williams?
Aye.
Wolf?
Aye.
Adam? Aye. Lavanino? Aye. Richardson? Aye. Lizaldi? Aye. Mosby? Aye. Aceves? Aye. Clark?
Aye.
Murillo?
Aye.
Patino?
No.
Sierra? And Chair Hartman?
Aye.
Motion passes 12-1.
Okay, item number 6.
Item 6, Senate Bill 1 update. Receive update on Senate Bill 1 funding activities for Santa Barbara County.
Mr. Sarkis.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Directors. Good morning. Nice to see you all. Today, staff is providing an update on the Senate Bill 1, which is the 2017 Road Maintenance and Rehabilitation Account. The SB1 program provides over $5 billion per year to transportation projects throughout California through various programs that are administered by the California Transportation Commission. So today, I will be highlighting 3 of those programs that have had recent activities. So if we can get the slides up. You can see it in South County. Okay, I'll just go ahead.
Yes, thank you.
The first picture is a picture of some children crossing a street, and that's due to the active transportation program. This is a program that provides local agencies and project sponsors with the opportunity to fund projects that encourage increased active participation by both school children as well as bicyclists and those who walk in our neighborhoods. And so SB1 provides $100 million towards the active transportation program. This is in addition to other federal and state money that the state administers. But what happened in May was the California Transportation Commission announced a call for projects for Cycle 4 of the active transportation program. And this will provide $440 million over a 4-year period. So this is a good opportunity for our local agencies. And so we've been working with our local agencies. We actually held a application workshop a couple months ago. And our understanding is that at least 12 applications from our region will be submitted, and that's South Coast as well as North County. And so the applications are due in a couple weeks. We will provide a summary of those applications at the September board meeting, and then we will find out in December what the CTC recommends for funding. So we're very optimistic that our region, who has always done well in this program, will continue to do well, and we'll have additional projects coming our way. The second program is the Local Streets and Roads program. Next slide, please. Under SB1, our cities and counties throughout California will be receiving $1.5 billion per year for local road improvements. And so this is a good opportunity for our local agencies to look at ways to improving the safety as well as the pavement of our local roads. In our region, approximately $12 million will be available to the county and to our cities. So that's through the remainder of SB1. Here's a really good example of a project in our county, and it's actually in the city of Santa Maria. So this is a SB1 funded project, and so you can see that our local agencies are very active with using the funds towards improving our local roads. And then the final program is the Local Partnership Program, and this is a program that provides $100 million per year. Next slide, please. To agencies that have imposed taxes or fees that are used strictly for transportation. And so in our region, we are a self-help county, which is a great thing. Our voters approved Measure A back in 2008. And as such, we're being rewarded with an additional $1.3 million per year. And so under the consent item on your agenda today, we did get authorization from your board to submit applications for projects along the US 101 multimodal corridor. And so once those projects are delivered on the South Coast, we'll be able to do a county-wide call for projects. And so we will continue to receive about $1.3 million per year from the CTC to help with projects in our region. And so with that, this concludes my presentation today. We'll continue to provide updates to your board on any other actions related to SB1. So I can take any questions at this time.
Any questions? Any questions in South County?
Madam Chair.
Oh,
No questions.
Director Murillo.
Thank you. The report describes us as a self-help county.
Yes.
Did you describe what that is?
Yes, so throughout California, counties have the ability to go to their voters and increase their sales tax. And so in 2008, our voters approved Measure A, which was a continuation of Measure D, which was our half-cent sales tax. And so that was approved by 80% of our voters.
I had just never seen that expression. Thanks, you guys. I'm still on a learning curve. Thank you.
Yes.
Me too. Okay, seeing no more lights and no activity, hand waving in South County. Do we have any public comment on this matter?
We have no public comment.
All right, then turning to our 1-minute reports from our directors. Any? Director Sierra.
I just have one. I'd like to invite everybody July 28th to Buellton's 14th Annual Barbecue Bonanza. We've got 11 to 2 at Riverview Park, tri-tip sandwiches, beans, and salad. Come on over.
Yum.
Director Lizaldi.
Yes, I'd just like to announce that the City of Guadalupe has been granted a CDBG grant for the amount of $4.5 million. And Council is already trying to spend it without seeing the contract yet. I advised them, but we did get the official letter yesterday. I received it, so that was a plus. And I said, okay, maybe we could spend $100 or something. But it did say in the letter, though, that caution on that part. Jurisdictions are responsible for that. And thanks for some advice on that from the sub-regional about crossing the I's, the T's, and dotting the I's, and make sure that's in place. But
and tell us what you're going to do with $4.5 million, at least an overview.
One is, if you're familiar with Leroy Park, those of you locally, the building itself, that alone, the roof would take $300,000 or $400,000 and then upgrade. And then also there's programs that are scheduled to go into that building. Totally landscape the park area. And then what we learned also, though, qualifying for a grant, there's a thing called over-the-counter, which we really look at up to $300,000 if you're designated later on in the future, which is a plus. But basically it's a community grant, and the building itself will be used for multi things, whether it's even an AA group, for example, having meetings there. Mm-hmm.
Well, congratulations. I know you launched this process a couple years ago, and now it's come to fruition, at least this stage of it. So we're all excited for Guadalupe.
Yes, it's great for the community, and it's great for the residents.
Any other 1-minute reports? Director Richardson.
I'd like to make sure that we all support the application grant that we made for ATP 4. Through a rigorous couple of months, we resolved our issues and are asking for a grant request to extend the bicycle path through Solvang. And it's just a small grant request of $2 million, but we sure want to see it happen. So.
Great. Any other? Director Patino.
Yes, we're going to, in the city of Santa Maria, we're going to have the open streets on October 21st. So that'll be down Pine Street from down to Main Street and across. And so it'll have open streets. And we're still waiting to hear from Caltrans how much we can do on this. But it'll be physical fitness, health and wellness. And we'll have booths, biking and skating and walking. And so it should be a very lively time. We're also going to do the...
May I ask, has Santa Maria done this before?
We have not in this.
This is the first time?
This is the first time we've done the open streets. Our downtown streetscape plan, we have gone through focus groups on that, and we're going to meet with Caltrans to build consensus, because we were told we could do anything we wanted with the streetscapes, and we've had different workshops on it. And then Caltrans says, whoops, we didn't really tell you could do everything you wanted, so we've got to get back with Caltrans and discuss that again. And then we went through the active transportation plan to facilitate a bicycle and pedestrian network. So we're going to be updating our bicycle path plan in Santa Maria. So that's all I have.
One other thing.
Sure, Director Richardson.
Since our next meeting will be after Danish Days, I want to remind you all that the third weekend in September is Danish Day celebration, and we invite everybody out to become Dane for a weekend, or even Dane for a day if you'd like.
Okay, any 1-minute reports in South County?
No.
All right. Seeing no more lights up here, we move to our Executive Director, Ms. Kern.
Madam Chairperson, members of the board, thank you very much. First of all, I want to welcome back Tim Gubbins. We are pleased to have our Caltrans District Director back, and I think this is his first week back.
Yeah, last week.
Yeah. And glad San Diego didn't steal him away from us. So thank you for being faithful to our area and coming back. I also want to thank the board for the direction you've given on our congestion management program. This is something that I was personally advocating for because I thought it was not conducive to what we want to accomplish, and we are accomplishing those monitoring and proposing projects in our regional transportation plan. So we will continue to do that as feverishly as we have been as an agency, and I have no doubt. But the congestion management program, I just a little story. When I was researching this job, I watched one of your meetings, and
You still came.
You were discussing the congestion management program. And I saw how frustrating it was for you, and I understood. I was like, oh my God, I couldn't believe they were still doing it. We can get out of it since 1996. So thank you. So we'll see how it goes. Michael and I will do our best job in trying to make that happen, but we'll come back when that is all done. I also want to introduce
Thank
Dylan.
God the 101 discussion must not have been during the
Yes,
meeting
it was.
that she watched.
It was.
Otherwise, we might not have her.
It was. I went back a few meetings just to see the tenor and the feel. Anyway, I also want to introduce Dylan Tollingson. He's one of our newer employees. We actually had 3 start this month, 3. Jackie started last month. So we are fully staffed now. Dylan is in our transportation programming department. He'll be working with Sarkis in transit and North County as well. So you'll be seeing his face along with our other newer employees. And I also want to let you know that I am available for SB1 education and outreach. I'm being invited to speak at Jim Richardson's men's forum, something like that. So I'll be doing that on July 30th, but I want to offer to do that. Education on SB1 is fairly significant for this agency and our success in what we do, so I want to make sure that I'm available for you if you see any opportunity.
I baited her because I'm going to buy her lunch.
Yeah. No, for free. Yeah.
Director Kern,
Yes.
will you be providing a list for us of projects that have been approved to go forward with SB1 funds?
Yes, we'll have a PowerPoint presentation available, a fact sheet of all the benefits that we're getting for this year as we know. So I will provide those information materials to you to use for your own education and use. So anything else you would like, please give me a call. And then last but not least, we were, with the concurrence of the chair, we are canceling our August meetings, both North County and South County subregionals, and the board as well. And I'm going to go on vacation, so thank you very much for making that happen.
Where are you going?
We're going to Florida and meeting my family's converging on the state of Florida. So thank you, and have a great summer.
Thank you. And Director Gubbins, welcome back. And I've been reading some big news in the newspapers of your agency, your district.
It's an exciting time to be back. Thank you for that warm welcome. I'll get to some of the good news as you mentioned, but for your earlier item on SB1, the new revenue stream there is also helping the state catch up on some of our deferred maintenance. I think we've talked about it in the past here. Some of the slab replacement in Buellton, the smoother ride we had through there on 101. Some things are fairly simple. Striping that's kind of old and faded. We're coming back with new, more reflective striping, and actually wider, making the stripes 6 inches instead of 4. It kind of seems like a little thing, but it adds that much more visibility, especially at nighttime. And as this state is transitioning to being the leaders in autonomous vehicles, you know, eventually they're going to be needing some of that better delineation. And even today, and in San Diego, I got to drive a lot of rental cars, and I noticed that almost all of them have the lane departure and all those kind of things. So the technology that's already out there is using some of those. So we have simple things like that we're refreshing, as well as starting to do some pavement and some other stuff, and so that feels good. And we can do updates. We work closely with your staff to make sure they know which projects are funded by that versus our standard revenue streams. And so in addition to the new revenues and the kind of ones that we've traditionally had, we are still working on our storm damage from both this year and last we've been working on. Most important probably to this board, State Highway 192. You know, the 6 bridges we're working on there. We've been making some progress. We're working really closely with the utility companies to make sure that we're staging along with them so that we're not, you know, we're not preventing certain communities and neighborhoods within the 192 area to be without, say, gas or electric or any of that stuff. So it's taking us a little longer than if we just dropped all the bridges and rebuilt them, because we need to make sure that we have that continuity going. I can give updates on any individual bridges that people, you know, I know for Director Williams and Maria, you know, they've probably heard a lot from their communities out there. The Toro Canyon Creek Bridge, or the East Toro Bridge, we've already poured the foundations for the abutments and everything. And the precast bridge deck, we're going to start placing that July 24th. So, you know, so things like that. So we're actually, you know, we've done a lot of work out there. We're progressing. Each of the bridges is a little different, and the utilities and the community that we're dealing with is just a little different at each one. But we're making progress, and I can give you updates either now or individually, or anytime you need them. Just feel free to call.
I might just ask, what do you think the completion for?
We're looking at
all of them.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at completing some of them in October. I think by the end of November, it's looking like we might have all of them done. And I'm hoping, and that's probably, my staff's probably going to yell at me for getting out our internal. But yeah, so let's say the calendar.
That's great. Let's say the calendar. That's a total engineer Scotty move. We tell us 2 years and get it done in 9 months.
Yeah, we would love to be out of there, and especially in some of these creeks before next season's rains hit. So that's our goal out there. Again, until we just got some surprises again last week. You know, as once you start getting underground, you find stuff, and once you start doing all that, but we have goals of beating this rainy season. So,
well, I think for the most part, residents would to gain the 4 months between November and the end of the rainy season, residents would probably be willing to put up with some power outages. So if you need to, I think that is an incident, because especially with summer traffic, everybody's reminded how bad things are, and a little bit of inconvenience for a few nights is probably better than 4 months more of inconvenience.
Well, we'll keep that in mind, and we'll contact your office or the staffs to help us outreach if we need to do that. But like I say, we're working closely with utility companies. They have as much work, and some of it isn't as big, but they have as much work as we do, just try and restore and maintain and everything. So, you know, it's a valiant effort on so many parts just to get that up and running. And then speaking of storm damage, the other big news we have this week, you probably all know that Highway 1 in Monterey County has been cut off since a year ago, May. In February of 2017, we had lost the Pfeiffer Bridge, and we were able to get that open by October of 2017. A brand new bridge was put up in the Big Sur area. But then, as we were working on that in May, we had the biggest slide we've ever had on Highway 1. Somewhere between 5 and 6 million cubic yards came down. Created, you know, 2,500 feet of new coastline, all that kind of stuff. And so we've been working very hard on that, you know, 7 days a week and everything. And so as of yesterday, a little before 10 a.m., that road is now open. And so that's really big news, not just for the localized area there, but for the tourism, the economy in here, and everything else that goes along with it. So at Friday morning, we are having a ceremonial opening of it, even though it's already open. We didn't want to wait even a couple more days, and kind of a celebration up at Ragged Point Inn, right south of the slide. So that is already starting to get national and international attention, the fact that that's open. And so with that, we're still continuing to work on a lot of other things, including ATP grants, applications, things like that. I think we've been working with county staff. And that's all my updates, and I'd be willing to answer questions if there are any.
Director Aceves.
Good to see you again.
Thank you. You too.
The trees that were cut down at Fairview, I guess because they were dead or dying or had no water, now they put water in. I just saw the trees are back up. Did we replace them with the same type trees, do you know?
I will get back to you. I am
Thank you.
not sure the type of trees.
But they look nice, and we got a lot of phone
good.
calls, and they went down. Hopefully, we'll get a lot of phone calls now that they're back up. So
That would be nice, wouldn't it?
That's not how it works.
Any other comments or questions? Sure, Mr. Lewis.
Yes, public's invited, 11 o'clock Friday morning at Ragged Point Inn. The coast should be a beautiful adventure this weekend. You know, the cell phone range, once you get past about that point, is probably good for that. Yeah.
I heard that celebration, the opening of Highway 1 was going to be a big deal. 84 years of since the original opening.
Yeah,
there'll be an automobile for each year in those 84 years.
There's actually that's a little bit different event that's going to be happening in August. Visit California's arranging that, and I believe they're calling it the Dream Drive.
Yeah,
and they're going to do that. I believe it's August 9th, and they're starting up at Laguna Seca. Near Monterey, doing a couple laps there, and then they have a couple courses that they're going to be driving. So yes, that is coming up.
Okay, I don't see any more lights. Thank you, and again, welcome back. Committee meetings, and I think it's just Director Murillo.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So on Sunday, July 15th, we had a reception to start off the double meetings of LoSAN and the Coast Rail Coordinating Council. And Director Bennett is recovering from knee surgery, and I'm the alternate, so I went in his stead, and he really missed out. It was very nice to get to meet everyone who's working in train service and that kind of service that the public wants, and always trying to make those services better. And I have to give compliments to SBCAG staffer Scott Spalding for going with me and supporting me representing SBCAG. At the LoSAN meeting, we just had a couple of items relating to service south of Los Angeles, the rail-to-rail program, and the San Diego layover feasibility study. We also had the quarterly service performance report, which showed that the Surfliner had a 78% fare box ratio in the October to December 2017 quarter, which is outstanding. For the Coast Rail Coordinating Council, the main item was the board approval of final language for the MOU. So we're trying to formalize meetings and organization of that group. And we went forward with a recommendation that member agencies adopt the MOU. And staff is expecting to bring the MOU to SBCAG in September. And that's it, except we do have, oh no, I should have said that during the committee reports, but we have a lot of SB1 projects going on in Santa Barbara. A little messy, but then it's going to be better afterwards. So thanks.
Okay, I gather there are no other committee meeting reports. We wish Director Bennett, maybe we should send him emails and just wish him a speedy recovery. So with that, I adjourn to September 20th, 10 a.m. here in Santa Maria. you.